Hey there everyone, I am King Fi, Meteorologist Adam Claibon. Welcome to spring 2025. We're going to go over a little bit of what we're expecting and hopefully get you as close to possible as to what will happen here over these next couple of months. Plus, we're going to go over what happened this past winter, a La Nina winter, which if you need a little reminder of what that means, let's talk about that right now. The blue shaded area that you see right there, that is where we have those sea surface temperatures across the equatorial Pacific currently cooler than normal. And they were cooler than normal by 0.5 degrees Celsius and more this past winter, meaning that we were in La Nina conditions, which typically means we have a higher chance of seeing cooler and wetter conditions for our winter time here across the Pacific Northwest. Now, we had another variable to take into consideration this year, and that was the PDO. And the PDO is what we measure right here along the west coast of North America. Sea surface temperatures there were cooler than normal. And when that is the case, that means we have a negative PDO. And with that being the case, we have a higher chance of conditions being cooler than normal here across the Pacific Northwest. Not any different than La Nina, right? But also at the same time, precipitation could be near, if not slightly below, those normals. That might have played a role this year. One more thing about La Nina, it usually produces this highly amplified jet stream, and we saw that from time to time here throughout the year. But with that being the case, it allows those colder pockets of air to work their way down across our part of the country, as well as brings these stronger systems in, usually picking up quite a bit of moisture off of the Pacific. Again, the PDO might have led, though, to some of those storms not producing as much rain as they usually would. These are the deficits we're running so far this year. This is the precipitation amounts that we've seen since January, and we're running about a 2-inch deficit for Bellingham. Out at SeaTac Airport, about a 4-inch deficit, closer to 20 inches for Quileute. So we can definitely use a lot more precipitation here across our part of the country. And when you're running deficits in terms of precipitation, that means usually your snowpack is also going to be lower than where it should normally be for this time of the year. And this is where our snowpack is currently. Now, this is showing you where the percentages are of what our normal should be, the snowpack, the snow water equivalent in that snowpack. And where you see the yellows, that's where the percentages are anywhere between about 70 to 85 to 89%. The green's actually pretty good, 90 to 100%. Farther down here, closer to the Oregon state line, even the Olympics doing pretty good for right now. But our Central and North Cascades could definitely use a little more work. And I think La Nina might have a little bit of something for that. Now, wanted to show you this right here, a lot of numbers, but typically La Ninas like to go out with a little more of a bite, meaning that they sometimes come on colder and wetter than normal towards the very end of the season or even heading into spring. And the last 5 La Ninas, check out the precipitation amounts for the months of March through May, almost 14 inches for 2011, 2012 coming in closer to 12 inches, 2022 coming in just under 10 inches. Normally, we should be around about a 9 1/4 inch amount. And 2021, 2023 were definitely below normal, but 3 out of the 5 years, higher chance of things being a little wetter than normal than what they usually are. And so far here for this year, 2025, we picked up about 2.5 inches in the month of March. We'll see what April and May are able to bring as far as precipitation is concerned. But here we are now into spring. The first full week of it, the forecast is actually lending to more of a warmer solution. We have this ridge of high pressure. This is the 23rd of March. That's going to be building here across the Northwest, and that's going to help to bring in that milder and warmer air here across our area. The 24th, seeing it getting even stronger. The 25th, it's much stronger at that point. And eventually it'll start to head its way out of here as we head on towards the tail end of that first full week of spring. And then check it out. Right here, you have this trough of low pressure beginning to build right down across parts of the Pacific. And that will help to bring in a little bit of a southerly flow. So maybe meeting conditions staying warmer than normal towards the end of the month, but also bringing in more of a southwesterly and a moist flow, meaning we probably will get a few more systems on the way. Climate Prediction Center kind of thinking the same thing right here. This is their 8 to 14 day outlook, and that heads towards the end of the month. And it shows where you see the reds and the oranges, conditions possibly being warmer than normal throughout that time. And also at the same time, you see the deeper greens here along the west coast. That's where we could see conditions being wetter than normal. But I think, again, as we start to see more of that deep troughiness work its way across parts of the Pacific Northwest, April and May could be a cooler and wetter than normal time for us. Again, La Nina likes to do that, and the Climate Prediction Center also kind of thinking the same thing. This is their outlook for the months of March, April, and May. You can see where we have the blues. That's where they're expecting conditions to be cooler than normal here as we head into these next 3 months, and also the green, where we have the wetter than normal conditions expected at that same time. So if you haven't been able to do as much of the skiing and the snowboarding as you have wanted to here so far throughout the year, looks like you might have a couple of more months to do so.